You will frequently want to create still images from video files and then use those still images in your projects. And there's a nifty feature inside Premiere Pro that lets you take those still images and immediately import them into your project so you can use them right away. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to export images and 2 different ways to use those images in a project. To follow along, go to Working Files, go to Projects, go down to 0704 Exporting Stills. This project has 3 video clips. You can use your own clips if you care to, but we've got these 3 shots of the Matterhorn. And my goal here, first of all, is to get a still image of the last frame, then apply that to the project so we can sort of fade out gradually on that still image. So the first order of business is to navigate to that last frame, and there are a couple ways to do that. I can press the End key, and that takes me to the frame after the last frame. And to get back to the actual last frame, I use the left arrow key, and there's the last frame. That's one way to do it. You can use up and down arrow keys to navigate from one edit point to the next. Up takes me back toward the beginning. Down takes me to the end. So there we are at the end again, one frame after the last frame. So I click the left arrow key, and boom, there we are. Now I want to export this still frame, and the default standard way to do that is to go over here to this little icon there inside the program monitor and click on it. Now it's called the Export Frame button. You can use the keyboard shortcut Control-Shift-E or Command-Shift-E on Mac. Now if that little camera icon is not there, you can always use a keyboard shortcut, but who can remember that long shortcut, right? So you can always track it down by clicking this little plus sign here to go up to that button editor and go get the camera and add it to your layout. We'll click Cancel here because we got it already. So now I click on this little button, and I get this little dialog box. I need to give it a name, so I'll call it Matterhorn 1, because we're going to do several of these guys. So I'll do -1 like that. I select the format. There are the various still image formats. I'm going to use TIFF because it's a high-resolution format. I need to give it a location in my hard drive, so I'll click on Browse and go to this My Premiere Pro Exercise Files Scratch folder that I created for this. So I'm going to select the folder here like that. And finally, there's this little checkbox here, which I really like. This is a new addition to the latest version of Premiere Pro. If you check that, it stores the image on your hard drive and immediately imports it into your project, and you see it show up here inside the project panel. And I really like that. So I'm going to leave that guy checked and click OK. And boom, we get that image saved, and it shows up right here, Matterhorn 1. So I'm going to take this now and drag it to the end of my sequence. Now you'd think when you go from a video to a still image, there might be some kind of a jump, but it's very smooth. I'll just let it go like this. Very nice. You notice the audio obviously stops because it's only as long as the original clip, but you can do some audio editing there. Very easy to cut this and take a part of it and put it after that and then fade it out. I'm going to talk about working with transitions later in the course, but I'll give you a brief preview right now. Go over here to Effects, on down to Video Transitions, Dissolve, and here's Cross Dissolve right there. Just drag that to that last clip. There we go. And it'll fade out like so. I want to get 2 more still images now in 2 different ways and use them with a title. Let me show you the title. Go back here to the project panel. Double click on this title to open up the titler. I used a template to create this, so you can create it as well. It's fairly straightforward. If you want to see what's behind it, you can click on this and it shows you what's currently behind it on the sequence. If I move this around, that will change over here. I'm going to turn that off though so you can see the actual title like that. What I want to do is I want to add 2 still images to this, but not to the title itself, but I'm going to put them on the timeline and show you how to do that in a second. So I'll close this down. Let me go get a couple of shots, like this strong foreground here, like that. So I'm going to get a still image from here, but I'm not going to use the program monitor. I'm going to use the source monitor, which you can also do here. So I'll double click on this to open it up in the source monitor. Current time indicator will be at the same spot. I'll go over here to the camera, click it. Same routine as before. Call this Matterhorn number 2. And we're going to stick with TIFF, and the path is the same now because we've already set it up. I'm going to use that little checkbox again, click that, and boom, it's going to show up immediately here. I'm going to work with this in just a second. Let's get one more image here using a third method that's kind of cumbersome, but I want you to see how it works. Got this little spot here where things get kind of bright there. I like that little spot there. I'm going to export this frame using the Export Menu command. I talk about exporting at the end of my course, but here I want to show you how to export a still image and also show you that you can import it back into the project even with this process as well. So I'm going to go up to File, Export, Media. That opens up the Export Settings dialog box. And right now it looks like it's going to be the wrong format, but we'll fix that in just a moment. I'm going to change it from AVI, this drop-down list here, to one of the still images we've been working with. Now you can see them here. There's BMP, GIF, JPEG. I'm going to go down to TIFF here and click on that. So now you notice it's the right format now. I need to give it an output name. It's a different process than that little dialog box we worked with before, so I'll click on that. Need to navigate to the Scratch folder I've been using. I'll just click on one of these guys so I can get the name active and go down here and change it to number 3. And I'm going to click Save, and Save does not export it. It just records that file name and location. Now you need to export it, but before you do that, there's one more thing you need to do. You need to uncheck this. If you keep this checked, it's going to export one frame for every single frame in your project. It's a lot of frames, folks, so let's uncheck that to make sure it works. And now I need to make sure this little checkbox here is selected, Import into Project. That's a good thing. You can import anything you export this way, so you would import most likely a video clip back in your project, but here we're importing this still image back into the project. And now I click Export. And now you see that third guy showed up there. So now I want to show you how to use this in the title. So I'm going to put the title at the beginning of this sequence. I'll go get the title. I'm going to drag it to the beginning like this. And I want to shove everything to the right. If I just drop it there like that, it's going to cover up what was there, and that won't work. That's not what I want. I want to be able to have everything go to the right. So I'll undo that by pressing Control or Command Z. Drag it to the beginning again. And this time I'm going to hold on the Control key in Windows, the Command key in Mac, and that will shove everything to the right. So now we have the title sitting there by itself. I want to put 2 images above it. I'm going to get Matterhorn 2 and put it right there on the track above there. Notice they're the same length. By default, images and titles are 5 seconds long. You can change that, of course. We get the third one here and drag it above that top one. They cover up the title, but we're going to fix that in a second. Go here and click on this first one there on top. I'm going to give you a little preview here of the motion effect. Go to Effect Controls, Motion, open that up, scale it down to, let's say, 45% or so. You can see it showing up there. Go to the next one, click on it to make it active. Go to its motion controls, scale it down to 45% as well, so it's the same. Now they're on top of each other. Move that one off to the side like that. And this one, move it off to the side like that. Now I have these two guys on top of that title, and they both come from the project. This is going to just jump like that. It's going to be a cut edit, so it won't be very smooth. But again, you can put cross dissolves and that kind of stuff there. So that is how you make still images from video files here inside Premiere Pro, and how you can immediately import them back into your project.